Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a dynamic that honestly, almost all of us have faced at some point, yet it's incredibly hard to spot until you're right in the thick of it. We're looking at exactly how to conquer manipulation. Now, I know it's a challenging dynamic that can leave you feeling super frustrated and just drained. But by the end of our time together today, you're going to have a clear, structured roadmap to navigate it with absolute confidence.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Have you ever agreed to something you completely didn't want to do and walked away wondering, wait, how did I just say yes to that? It's a totally universal experience, right? That invisible pressure, that slight twisting of your arm where you feel like you didn't actually have a choice in the matter, that is exactly what we are decoding today. We've all been there, but the really good news is you absolutely do not have to stay there.
So here is our playbook for today's Explainer. We'll cover identifying the invisible threat, common tactics of manipulation, the impact it has on you, building your defensive boundaries, and finally, the actionable steps to conquer it.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Identifying the Invisible Threat.
You know, before we can conquer this problem, we really need to bring it out of the shadows. We absolutely must define it clearly, so we aren't just boxing with shadows here. Manipulation is defined as the hidden tactics used to control or influence someone against their own autonomy. Notice how incredibly objective that is? We're separating the tactic from the person. It's not necessarily about some shadowy mastermind in a villain chair. It's about specific, hidden behaviors designed to bypass your free will. At its core, it's just a direct attack on your personal autonomy, plain and simple.
And this brilliantly illustrates the stark line between healthy persuasion and toxic manipulation. Healthy persuasion, well, it's completely transparent. It's someone saying, hey, here is what I want, here's why it matters, what do you think? It inherently respects your absolute right to say no. Toxic manipulation, on the flip side, well, it hides its motives. It uses guilt, a subtle twisting of facts or emotional leverage just to force a yes out of you. It's the literal difference between an open invitation and a hidden trap.
Moving right along to Section 2, Common Tactics of Manipulation.
Now that we know what it is conceptually, how does it actually play out in our day-to-day conversations? Well, it almost always starts with the subtle setup. This is a phase you usually miss in the heat of the moment, mostly because your boundaries are quietly, almost invisibly tested. Think of a coworker asking for a tiny favor that subtly crosses a professional line, or maybe a minor guilt trip disguised as a friendly joke. The manipulator is essentially gathering data, figuring out exactly how much pressure you'll tolerate before you push back.
And you know, that subtle setup eventually builds into the realization this is that tense, pivotal aha moment. It's that sudden sinking knot in your stomach when you realize, wait a minute, I am being played here. The fog lifts for just a second, and you see that the conversation isn't actually a mutual exchange of ideas. It's a strategic maneuver designed to get you to comply. It's a highly uncomfortable moment for sure, but recognizing it, that's absolutely essential to stopping it.
Which leads us directly to the pushback. When you have that realization and you finally start to resist that manipulative pressure, while friction is pretty much inevitable, you might say no or simply ask for a little time to think, and suddenly, boom, the other person's tone dramatically changes. They might act wounded, confused, or even get angry, saying things like, I thought we were a team, or I would do it for you. Now, this friction is actually a great sign that your resistance is working, but man, it can be incredibly difficult to navigate when you're right in the middle of it.
Next up, Section 3, the impact on you.
We really need to acknowledge the deep psychological toll these tactics take. The damage goes way deeper than just adding to your to-do list. It leaves you feeling completely overwhelmed, suffering a profound loss of autonomy, and dealing with this creeping unsureness in your personal or professional relationships. Look, if you've felt these things, your experience is entirely valid. Manipulation deliberately erodes your sense of control and your trust in your own boundaries. It literally makes you second-guess your own reality and your decisions. It's exhausting, and it is entirely by design to keep you compliant.
All right, Section 4, Building your defensive boundaries. So, we're shifting gears right now from just diagnosing the problem to actually finding the solution. You have the total ability to stop this dynamic, and it starts with the core concept of conquering manipulation. I want you to focus intently on that active, empowering word, conquer. We aren't just learning to survive it, or tolerate it, or tiptoe politely around it. No way. We are learning to actively conquer it. This is about you stepping right back into the driver's seat of your own life and your own decisions.
And that brings us to Section 5, Steps to Conquer It.
Okay, this right here is your tactical playbook to reclaim your personal autonomy starting right now. Step 1. Recognize the tactic in real time. Notice the behavior as it's actually happening. Basically, name it to tame it. Tell yourself internally, okay, this is a guilt trip, or, yep, this is a subtle setup. This helps you detach emotionally and see the play for exactly what it is. Step 2. Establish a clear boundary. Listen, you do not need a 5-minute explanation or a profound apology to justify yourself. A polite, firm, "I won't be able to do that" is a complete sentence. And step 3. Push back and reclaim your autonomy by standing firm in that inevitable friction we talked about earlier. Just let the awkward silence sit there. When they push or act offended, you simply hold your ground. This is exactly how you stop the cycle dead in its tracks.
To wrap things up, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. How will you use these exact boundaries to reclaim your power in your very next conversation? Seriously, don't wait for some massive confrontation to test this out. Try it the very next time you feel even a hint of that invisible pressure. Notice it, set the boundary, and take back the driver's seat. You've got the tools now. Thank you so much for learning with me today in this explainer.